Welcome back to the Linguistic Landscape and Autoethnography of Place course. Um, Up until now, the videos that you have watched dealt with the basic underpinning concepts which we're going to use. With this video, we're going to move into the actual process of doing an autoethnography of place. Each video in this series is designed to help you take a step, fulfill a stage of working through this particular project. The first stage, as in many cases, is defining a research question. So if we look at this schematic overview of the process, you can see that the initial stage is not just choosing a research question, that's integrally connected to the choice of a personally meaningful area. So for this project, you need to choose a location. Choosing a location should not be an opportunistic issue. I live close to, so I will choose it. But rather you want to have several criteria in place to help you with this decision. The first, and I would say the most important aspect, is personal significance. Choose a place that holds deep emotional, cultural, and historical meaning for you. That doesn't mean it needs to be a historical site. It could be your house, for example, or it could be a place in the park. But it needs to be something that has an emotional and historical meaning for you as a person, as a researcher. Otherwise, why do an autoethnography of place? In other words, choose something that means something to you. Otherwise, I think it's just a wasted effort. Now, I'm sure there are many places that are meaningful to you, but it needs to be a place that you have access to at the moment. The reason for that is you're going to have to conduct photographic documentation, which means you're going to actually have to go there and take pictures. So if this site is not accessible to you, that's going to be very difficult to do. Choose something that has a cultural and social context. Now, it's true that everything has a cultural and social context, but think of like a shared historical community, meaning narratives which might come into play. Once again, this doesn't necessarily mean this is a building or something of that nature. It could be somewhere outside, but think of something that has a sort of a community historical context to it. And I think the fourth criteria is really important. You want something that has a discursive richness for you, where you have memories, emotions, and interactions at this site. Interactions which might be with broader narratives, but also might be with familial narratives or your own history as a person. So try and get a place which is significant, but also rich to you. Now, take a few moments, sit down, think about the place you want to study. It's very important that the place is meaningful to you and also that it's physically accessible for you. Write out 2 different options for a place you'd like to study. It could be 3. Evaluate each and make a choice. So don't just choose one. Think of a few places and then make a choice between them. Now, writing a research question is actually very simple within this framework. I'm going to give you both the title and the research question. So the title of your project is Being In, name the place that you've chosen, an autoethnography of place. And then the research questions are basically what characterized my experience of being in, name your place. And then we have 2 components. Remember, we have a linguistic landscape and we have an autoethnography. So in what ways is X linguistically, semiotically, and discursively constructed? And B, what are the emotions, identities, experiences, cultural aspects, community understandings, and narratives that have shaped X for me? Now, the last thing you need to do is you do need to write a justification. Write a paragraph explaining why you have chosen this place. So briefly describe the place and why it is meaningful to you, so that you have so I have a sense of what you're doing, but also so that you have some notes on how you made this decision. With that, I'll leave you and see you in our next video.